Sandwich Boy Columbus here, and welcome to my channel if you're new. But I am doing the YouTube Pagan challenge from the group, and it is a series of 52 questions. I'm assuming it's one a week, so that would be a year. I'm going to get right into it so that I don't over talk and talk really long because I can get kind of wordy. The first question is, how did you come to your path? And I think I'm reading that. Or how did you find your path? When I was young, really little kid, we went to a Methodist Christian church. That we didn't really, we were really young, so we really didn't, you know what I mean? It was just somewhere that we had to dress up and go on Sundays. We sang songs and did projects. They didn't really preach, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of explained some stuff, but not very much. Later on, when I was more towards teenage years, we did go to, my mom would like put us in like church on Sundays. She didn't go. It was mainly to get us out of the house and away from her so she could have time to herself. But then it never really meshed well. I didn't get it. And the more questions I asked, the more I was told to basically shut up. So I didn't really, I just dropped that. I didn't, and I kind of shunned the whole Christianity thing from my life. I just didn't want to be a part of it. And that's probably because I was really uncomfortable in my own skin at that time. I was very emotional kid, and I was also dealing with, I didn't know it, you know what I mean, at that time. I mean, when you're really young, I did when as it got more closer to teenage years, but when I was younger, I didn't understand that my sexuality was different, you know what I mean? At that time, I just felt different. I didn't really have feelings for sex at all, you know what I mean? But I knew I was different than other people. And for a male child who feels and shows and feels emotion as much as I did, I mean, that was considered a weakness. So I tried to hide all that and bury all that, and come later to find that it was part of my path, and abilities that were there that I didn't, with dealing with everything else in my life, that was just another thing that I was just like, I'm just going to bury that in and try and figure out how to not deal with that. So, flash forward to about 15 years ago, and I started doing research online. And at that time, it was like, I don't know if I wasn't searching for the right stuff or what have you, but I was researching magic and witchcraft and New Age stuff, and mainly craft. I was more interested in learning more of the craft. When I was 18, I had a roommate that was he talked about doing magic and doing stuff, but it didn't have a name. So, and actually I've contacted him a couple months ago, and we started talking about it, but I still didn't get was he practicing like Wicca, or, you know, that was in the 80s, so late 80s, 88. So, but I knew about it, but it was still, even though we were like super alternative, or, you know what I mean, and like I hung around with a different group, it was still kind of different, that aspect. And so I was, like I said, coming to terms with who I was as a person, and then all of that kind of came separate. And I was kind of wanting to be accepted, but at the same time by the not mainstream group. If that makes sense. I was still trying to feel, you know what I mean, for me. And but like I said, flash forward to 15 years ago, and I was doing research online, and I kept coming across the websites where it was like, um, when you would search, I would come up with websites where people were selling like voodoo spells, stuff like that, which was really weird. Like, and they were like built websites, their own websites. And I remember one was Red Deer and something. I just remember his name. And it was like maybe a husband and wife or something, but I know that they had a website, and Red Deer and something. But that, like I said, that was 10, 15 years ago. So, and then I just started piecing things together. And then 10 years ago, almost exactly 10 years ago, I really dove head on and started researching more stuff. And then started, getting books and discovered people on YouTube and just stuff like that. And I started to follow other people that um, that I felt very interesting. You know what I mean? And then it also, it's like, this totally makes sense. So I consider myself a solitary eclectic witch, with heavy influence from Wicca, also Egyptian, Celtic, Norse, um, Native American, indigenous, cultures. I really like reading about different indigenous cultures and their ideas and stuff. And but I'm also vegan, and that plays a huge part, because I'm totally for not just animals, but everyone. Not hurting as much as we can, because that's a whole other subject. If I get into that, I'll never shut up. So, yeah, that's how I found the path that I'm currently on. And I always think that it's always changing. That was the best thing about it. It was that there was no, I mean, I guess if I try and stay clear of dogma, so my path is to learn as much as I can, and being eclectic as I can take out what I think is biased opinions or dogma or just something that doesn't mesh well with me, and I can sew it all together so beautifully that that's how it fits. So yeah, so um, that's how I've come to my path so far, and as I journey on this road, I just always think it's evolving and changing, and because the more we learn, the more things might change, and I might call myself something different. But as far as now, that's my label, and that I would most closely identify with. Uh, so I think that's it. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the down box below. Feel free to contact me. You can on my Facebook, or I'm sorry, on my YouTube channel is a link to my Facebook and my Twitter and blah blah blah. So you can always contact me through there. I look forward to watching everyone else's videos, and if you have a response, tag it to the group on Facebook and tag me with it. Reply with the link in my down below. And I will talk to everybody soon. You have a great night, and blessed be.